So let's transition a little bit. We're probably right on the notch for the next subject. We're gonna talk about NBA 2K, my career. Last week we talked about 5 things that we'd like to see in my team, and this time I think we can talk about 5 things that we'd like to see happen in my career. If you guys know us, if there's anybody else new here besides Joe, because I don't know Joe, I don't know if you're new, Joe, but if you are new, I appreciate you popping in and participating. And anybody else that's new that's not speaking yet, if you're a long time lurker, uh, put a put an ampersand in the in the chat and say and represent for the lurkers. But let's talk about my career. We went like back and forth, like we were kind of passing the mic last time. What give me something that you
Okay,
have.
so the first thing I want to say, and this is not one of the 5, this is just an
Okay.
overall thing. My career needs to be fun, and everything in the mode should be fun. And right now, my career is grindy. And everyone, literally like 100% of the population, views my career as a chore. I was a guy who bought 2K for my career from about 2K9 up until maybe 2K15. 2K16, I started expanding more to playing other modes and online. And since 2K18, I've been playing primarily Park and Pro-Am and just kind of getting through my career.
Hmm.
So that's the overview. I think my career, the decisions they make, need to make it more to be fun. So the number one thing for me, from a story standpoint, because my career is story first, is your decisions need to matter. And when I say decisions, I don't just mean when you talk to people.
Hmm.
That's a big one,
Yeah.
right? Whatever personality you choose, how you talk to teammates, how you talk about teammates, there should be ramifications in your career, both in how much rewards you get and how much paths you are forced into taking, right? So imagine you talk trash at a press conference, and the veteran on your team is like, "I can't play with this kid. I'm demanding a trade."
Hmm.
That would be awesome,
Yeah.
so so those decisions need to be rewarded, and also the decisions you make on the court should be a bigger part of your career. So
So
when you
this,
play,
wait a minute, let me clarify. So this is your number. This is your first one.
this is my first one.
Gotcha.
Your decisions should matter.
Hmm.
Right now, you get the same exact results no matter what decisions you make, whether you're a guy 7'3" or 6'3", whether you're a post-up guy or a perimeter guy, whether you give arrogant answers, or whether you talk about your teammates, whether you stay with the same team your whole career or you bounce from team to team, it's the same exact result no matter what. And that is the number one reason to me that the story element, the role play, I should say is a better way of phrasing it, element, is unfulfilling. Is my decisions don't matter, so why should I care about any of this?
Yes, I would agree. Now, my first thing is I would like to see them get rid of the linear story altogether.
Hmm.
Because I just don't think that there's a way for them to build upon this concept without ultimately giving us something else that makes us want to skip. And if that's what's happening, if if I'm creating a movie and I know that this movie that I'm creating or that I'm directing, I'm producing, whatever it is I'm doing, that 85% of the audience that watches it, say it's a straight to DVD thing, they're not gonna watch the whole thing. I literally had to put in a button on the screen that allows you to jump to the end of all of the scenes. If I know that that's the case, I don't think that I should keep forcing a story in some place where it's not really even being appreciated, right? It's not being appreciated and it's too confining. It is people now with my career, they want to have their own journey, right? They want to do their own thing, and almost nobody plays my career the exact same. Almost nobody does. People play it for different reasons, they
Hmm.
play it different ways, and they look to get different things out of it. But when you keep them confined to a linear story, it gets to be like you said before you even gave your first point. It's not fun
Hmm.
because you're chaining me to a concept, and it's like, oh, okay, this is not why I play my career. I play my career to do blah 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 blah, and it shouldn't be that way. And so that's my first thing. Get rid of the linear story altogether. Now I have a follow-up to that, but I'm gonna keep that as my second point.
Okay, so I don't. You mind if I rebut a little bit?
Go ahead, kill it.
Okay, I don't think they no. Well, I don't think they should get rid of the linear story because
Mhm,
if you look at the YouTube playthroughs of my career, it does extremely well, which means people are really appreciating that from a certain standpoint. And I
mhm,
would say the same thing for the long shot and the journey in other games. I think the reason they've invested those resources into it is because there is a crowd for it. What
mhm,
happens is because it's not an online mode, there's not a lot of people online talking about it. But where you do see that prop up is 2K has the numbers to show how much people like those modes. And if you look at the stuff on YouTube, how much people are watching it, that's also huge for 2K. In fact, more people watch my career than people watch the NBA 2K League. Had to get that in real quick.
mhm.
Down to 1,000 viewers. What's up?
Woo!
So
Man, that's tough, man. That's
that's
real
real
tough.
tough. That's
Because
real
I
tough.
really want that league to succeed, dude. That stings me.
Yeah. But back to my career. So my thing is, what I agree with you on is they need to have the non-story part of my career have the replayability that the story part doesn't provide, so that it's rewarding to go through with different builds, with different teams, with different personalities, right?
Hmm.
Signing different contracts. These should all provide replayability. We talk a lot about the UFC game, which has no real story to speak of.
Hmm.
All they do is provide feedback for what you're doing. And the unique thing about UFC is depending on who you make, you're going to fight different people,
Yeah,
right? So
very
if I
important.
make if I make a light heavyweight versus if I make a bantamweight, I'm fighting an entire different class of person. If I make a different style, I'm engaging in a completely different way. If I make a female fighter, I engage in a completely different way. So I've played 3 or 4 careers all the way through on UFC. Three. Easy. Did it like 3 nights. Just boom, 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 knocked it out real quick. Right? And it was always fun. Now it's shorter than 2K, but it
Hmm.
was all, even though I'm doing the same thing over and over again, I'm having a different experience doing the
Hmm.
same thing over and over again. So I agree with the premise of what you're saying in the sense that the story is never going to be replayable. There's everybody who plays this game as much as you want them to play it is going to be skipping through your story. It should be built into it that there's a replayable version of my career that's more about the experience you're having than about the passive experience of watching people talk, watching actors act.
Yeah. Now, here's my thing, and you touched on this a little bit in what you just said. I don't want to get rid of the linear story, a concept. I want to get rid of it from it out of my career. I love what EA has done by creating a separate mode with
Mm-hmm.
this elaborate story, the journey, long shot, even though long shot's not coming back to Madden 20, but just that concept. I love that. It as a separate thing that has its own VC rewards, its own whatever. So there's a beyond the fact that you might just enjoy experiencing this story, there's actually, even if you're just a pure traditional my career player, there's a big benefit in going through this story, and there's several parts of it that, and from a role-playing standpoint, that can get you big VC payout, big whatever, plugged into the story, but it's separate. It's
So
totally
what do you say
separate.
to people that say, I like the story mode, I want to continue into a full NBA career?
Well, no, I believe that that should be the case. I believe that you should be going through it with your player, and then at the end of it, you have the option of taking your player that you just dealt with in this story mode, or you can start over from there and
So
recreate your own person.
I think we actually agree here
Hmm.
because what we're saying is the my career story mode should not be the
A part
necessary
of the
experience.
grind.
It
Yeah.
should be a an optional
Hmm.
experience, which it almost is in this version of 2K. Unfortunately, when you skip it, there's nothing. Once you get to the NBA, there's no experience left. You're literally just grinding NBA games over and over again
Yeah.
with player lock. There's almost no feedback from my career at all whatsoever. You're just playing the games and getting VC for it. There's
Right.
nothing happening. There's no when you can't switch agents. You can't. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
so I think we agree. Have the story mode not be necessary for my career. Have the my career experience be fun and replayable and give you feedback with or without the story.
Yeah, yeah. I want to have the story because I think the stories are dope. I just want to have it separate
Hmm.
from the actual grind.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want to have it separate from the actual grind. And Kawhi Leonard is going nuts over here. The Raptors are up 4 now, and he's almost doing it by himself.
Hmm.
He's acting a complete fool.
He's a monster. You got to appreciate what he's doing. Like we're in
I
a
really do,
special
man.
special moment in NBA history right now watching this guy play.
I really did. I tweeted this a couple days ago. I don't remember what day it was, but he has become one of my favorite players.
Oh, he's
Like
awesome.
he
He's
really he
awesome.
has become one of my favorite players. I mean, never mind being one of the best players. That was already what it was. He's actually become one of my favorite players because the
Hmm.
dude is just. I mean, like he just does it. You know,
Yeah,
he just does it, and it's just like, there it is. Take it, bam. It's the dude is nasty.
yeah, he's
But
wild.
so okay, all right. You have another one because that was your rebuttal. So
Yeah,
another one.
and we agree. So we just
Yeah.
clarified a little bit.
Mhm.
So my second one would be I want more. I want cooler things to spend VC on. Specifically, I would really love to be able to fully customize and outfit an awesome looking apartment and garage. I don't care if I never drive the cars. I just want cool looking cars in the garage because that's part of the NBA experience and stuff like that. Like the little sneaker wall, and you got a kitchen counter and a couch in front of a TV and a basketball court. That is lame.
Nah.
I I want to go to a friend's my court and be like, this is awesome. Look what you did here. Look what you did there. You got a shrine to Derrick Rose over here in your third room, right?
Yeah.
And in that court, I want things that actually are useful. So I want the shooting machine. You know what I'm
Ah,
saying?
you just took my number 5.
Well, sorry. We should have probably had a meeting about this. I want the shooting machine to work on the jump shot. I want to be able to access a trainer so I can work with any drill that I want to at any time
Yeah.
because certain drills are actually beneficial to gameplay, right?
Yeah.
And I think they need to make your my court. It needs to be your pet house, your garage, your home, all that stuff. Make me feel the reward of being an awesome player and have it keep stacking so that the longer I play with this character, the more awesome I feel.
Yeah, that was my next thing. My next thing was I just want a freaking shooting machine on the like there's no way it makes no sense that I'm on my court and I got to chase the ball around.
Yeah, that's
That's
crazy.
the dumbest thing in the world. Like, why is that? I also think that my court should be totally customizable. So and so this is like an extension of what I was saying. What you have in when you're playing my team and when you're playing my league and my GM, you can rebrand your team, right? You can rebrand the uniforms, you can create the logos, you can upload images and all that kind of stuff, and you can put it anywhere. You can put it on the scores table, on the sidelines, you can put it on the side of the backboards, you can put it on the jerseys, you can put it in the middle of the floor. Why can't I do that in my court?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I should be able to do all of those things in my court. And I think you want to talk about from a YouTube standpoint, man, there's all kinds of stuff that I could do with that. I could literally I could literally sell advertising space if I'm a big enough YouTuber by putting ads on the wall. You know what I'm saying? 2K might not like that, but I dig it because
Hmm.
I'm always thinking about but just even beyond, even more shallow than that, just looking just of a place where you can just walk in and like all of this is just dope. This is my stuff. It's like my virtual room. And like you said, having multiple rooms, I think it would be just off the chain. I really do.
Yeah,
But really, can I freaking have a ball machine? Can I
yeah.
please? Like, come on, man. Like that. This is almost the same as like I was talking about with my team, where they make you scroll through a bunch of players in the search results that's already on your team.
Hmm.
It's just what
So the next thing for me is I want a more in-depth relationship with my teammates,
Mm-hmm.
my rivals, my coach, my GM, and ownership. In my GM, you have all these conversations. It doesn't have to be conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, yeah, it can affect your gameplay. But I want those relationships to affect gameplay. You were playing the show, and you see you have all your relationships with your guys. That's so much more important in basketball. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the
It is.
like imagine if you could force a trade, not literally force a trade, but
Mm-hmm.
just by having such a bad relationship with somebody that you know they're going to demand a trade because they can't stand playing with you.
They hate you. Yeah.
Suppose taunting on the court created a rivalry with that other player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suppose
Yeah.
you did a taunt
Or
after
or
a three
or or,
pointer.
or suppose a flagrant foul.
Yeah, like you could do a flagrant, y'all have a little thing, and then you talk crap about it at the press conference, and
Yeah.
now that person's a rival,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And you get too many rivals, and you become kind of a villain in the league.
Or you get or you're standing in close proximity to a player who gets injured and he blames you because he
Yeah,
says that it was the product of you playing dirty. Similar to, like, I remember when Russell Westbrook tore his meniscus and he blamed Patrick Beverly because Beverly had kind of
because
chucked him.
Beverly, yeah, did it.
He chucked him. He chucked him. He chucked him.
Because Beverly tore his meniscus.
Yeah, he chucked him for sure. All of that kind of stuff. Like that's fire. That's dope
Yeah.
right there. That is that would yeah. And 1989 is saying something. He's like, this would only work with text convos. You know what? If that's where you have to take it, I'm for that. If if it allows you them to be more expansive with what goes on, because I don't think anybody is sitting up like, I don't know, maybe they are. Sitting up like, oh man, this would be so much doper if this was dramatized in a cinema screen like
Right.
this. And I think we kind of all passed that. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like that stuff that used to wow us back in the day. I remember when, with one player, with single player games, you would beat a game, right? You would finish it, and the whole point of it was how elaborate was the ending. That's what told you how good of an ending it was. But now we kind of like past that. It's like the journey in the game is more important, than anything, and the story that's being told. So I just kind of, that's
And
just the way I look at it.
also, we're talking about gameplay, this affecting gameplay. Suppose you have that rivalry with somebody, right? That rivalry, and you get into a situation with them, and they join a super team just to beat you,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Like they say, I took less to join this team because I want to win championships.
Yeah. See,
And
it's almost kind of like what they did with LeBron Path to Greatness. They did a lot of this kind of stuff.
yeah.
A lot of these kind of whirling dervish type of little
Hmm.
concepts. So I don't know. I don't know,
So,
man.
so I guess we're on the last thing. My last thing, even though I could go on all day about ways to improve my career. Okay, and just for anybody watching this segment, we're not talking about gameplay. We're gonna do gameplay separately.
Separate. Yeah.
But I do think they need to open up my career and allow for a way to play it more like my league, where you're still player locked. That's the only restriction, is that you're player locked. Or what, I don't even think you have to be player locked, to be honest. You're just going through all the my career stuff. You're rewarded as a my career player. You're not rewarded as an owner. But you're still building your my career character. That's the big difference between this and my league.
Hmm.
But everything else is a lot more like my league. You just have the options. The illusion that it's more difficult if you're, it's not a difficult mode.
It's not.
Anybody who knows how to play this game can average 70 points a game on Hall of Fame in my career. It's not that hard, right? Go to YouTube. They'll give you tons of ways to easily win every single game on Hall of Fame, average a billion points, get a bunch of reps. And this happens every year. And the thing is, it's not even important. It's just a computer.
Yeah.
2K developers need to stop competing against their players. Make it, that's why I said make it a fun experience, make it an enriching experience. And you know what would be enriching about my league is if you could start an expansion team with your my career character as the number one draft pick, acquire talent. Now you'd have a reason to play more than one season of my career.
Think about if my career had multiple entry points,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
So
all for it.
Do you want to start as a number one draft pick on an expansion team? Do you want to start as a undrafted rookie that's doing this, this, and this? Like all of these different built-in storylines, so to speak. And you kind of, you can get to wherever you want to go, but there's a different path, there's a different set of challenges. You want to talk about people coming up with playing multiple careers. That's when you're going to get people playing multiple careers.
I
You know,
totally agree. And they
you,
did this in Mass Effect back in 2007. So
yeah,
I know you guys can do it now.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.